And you think the Israel-Hamas, the situation in Gaza is going to come to an end soon?
Gaza's a nasty place. It's been that way for years. I think it should become a free zone. You know, freedom, I call it a freedom zone. It should become a freedom zone. It doesn't work. Every 10 years they go back, they have Hamas, they have everybody's being killed all over the place. I mean, you ever see, you talk about crime stats. It's a nasty place.
Are these people, these countries that you were just visiting, are they going to have to be a part of the solution?
Well, they would be. They would be. I spoke to all three of them. They would absolutely be. I mean, they're really rich and really, 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 even more than rich. They're good people. And they would help. And so money's not even the problem.
Well, you got to get countries to say yes, to take them.
Look. These are people that want to be in the Middle East. They really want to be in the Middle East. They love the Middle East. I see that. There's a spirit for the Middle East. They didn't have to go to Sweden, Germany, these different countries. They could have been home in the Middle East if somebody had the brains to build beautiful communities.
Yeah, the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, okay, and will ethnically cleanse Palestinians to Arab-majority countries. And, I mean, that's what they are, right? They're just Arabs. All Arabs are the same, aren't they? They want to be in the Middle East. What difference does it make if we force them off of the land they're entitled to? Their own land. Okay, it's so disgusting. So then there was this Barak Ravid thing. Let's talk a little bit about Barak Ravid over at Axios, right? Doing the same BS that he did for Biden, right? The constant laundering. Oh yeah, you know, my sources tell me that Joe Biden's applying a lot of pressure for a ceasefire. And then we find out after Joe Biden's no longer in office, and this is based on what the Israeli government has said in Israeli press, we didn't get any pressure from Biden for a ceasefire. We didn't get any pressure. So then Barak Ravid tries the same garbage when it comes to Donald Trump, saying that, you know, Donald Trump he's very disturbed by these images of these starving children, these children who are maimed. He's applying pressure on Israel. No, he's not. No, he's not. There's no reason to believe that Donald Trump is applying pressure on Israel to stop the slaughter in Gaza. No evidence whatsoever. Later on, though, I guess to his credit to some extent, here's what Barak Ravid wrote. An Israeli official told me that at the moment, Netanyahu doesn't feel strong pressure from Trump. If the president wants a hostage and ceasefire deal in Gaza, he needs to put much more pressure on both sides, the official said. I don't believe Trump is applying any pressure at all. I think that might be one of the few examples of Netanyahu telling the truth. I think Netanyahu would love Trump to go to war with Iran on behalf of Israel, and that's the one area where there's some resistance from Trump. But as it pertains to Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, Trump doesn't give a damn. He sees this as a business opportunity for himself. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, so there is one thing that Trump has done, or a series of things that Trump has done that's real. So he circumvented Israel on doing a deal with the Houthis. He did not agree to attack Iran as Netanyahu ordered him to. And he circumvented the Israelis in getting the American hostage back home. So those are three tangible things that he did that Israel was unhappy about. And so Biden did zero things that Israel was unhappy about. Biden was barely awake, obviously, right? Now, look, guys, I've lived in a gaslit world my whole life. So when we would say these things that are super obvious, mainstream media would say, how dare you? Joe Biden has wagged many fingers at Netanyahu. He has written strongly worded letters, and you are being unfair and unreasonable to the beloved Joe Biden. What happened now, guys? What happened now? I told you, Joe Biden did absolutely nothing. He's as guilty as anyone here. Now, is Trump a good guy? No. Everything Anna said is true, and he has promised to do worse than Biden. But the fact that he did those three things is a tiny bit of hope. Why? Guys, do I think that Donald Trump is some sort of angel and God, he's such a humanitarian, and there's a report out today that he's looking at the starving kids in Gaza and that it bothers him? Does it bother him? That would be shocking, okay? So, but what has happened is Qatar and UAE and Saudi Arabia have funneled a tremendous amount of money to Donald Trump, both to America in terms of defense contracts, etc., but also personally to Donald Trump. And if you say Donald Trump will not be affected by that money and you're on the left, have you ever met Donald Trump? Do you know who Donald Trump is? Donald Trump is obviously affected by the money. And if you're on the right and you think Donald Trump is an angel and would never be affected by money, again, I can't talk to you. You're not on this planet. You're on a different planet, right? So is it possible that the Arabs could out-bribe the Israelis? Yes, it is technically possible.
I hope they do.
And they do have more money, okay? So how would it work? There's two possible solutions here. One is Israel goes in and does the Smotrich and Netanyahu plan, where they keep them at minimal levels of near starvation. They push them into southern Gaza, and then eventually Trump does deals with Arab countries, and some sellout Arab countries are like, oh yeah, for money, for my own dictatorship or whatever, yeah, I'll help Israel ethnically cleanse these people and steal Gaza, and I'll put them in tent camps in Riyadh or wherever, okay? Yes, that's Israel's plan. And could Trump back that plan? Yes. Is he more likely to back that plan? Yes. Okay, there is a second plan. The second plan is, roughly speaking, the Arab plan. And so the Arab plan is, hey guys, hey Trump, do a ceasefire with Hamas, get Israel to do it, and it's super easy. You just say, I'm not gonna give you any more money. They'll do the deal instantly, right? It's not complicated. We give them like unlimited billions of dollars every year.
Yeah.
I literally can't keep track. I thought it was 4 billion as a guarantee. Then it turned out to be 8 billion. But that 8 billion might have been on top of the 4 billion, and earlier there was 20 billion.
Oh my God.
So it's like it's unlimited supply of money to Israel because they bought all our politicians. If you think they haven't bought our politicians and our politicians think this is the most moral thing to do and that's why they're sending them unlimited money, you're a moron. Let's be honest, I'm sorry. But that's like for pea-brain people. Oh no, but the politicians were not affected by hundreds of millions of dollars spent by the Israeli lobby because they're so morally pure. You would have to be really bottom 10% intelligence to believe that, right? Or a mainstream media reporter. So in the Arab plan, however they do it, bribe Trump enough or whatever, and at this point I don't even care, okay? I just need that genocide to stop. So then the Arabs would come in after the ceasefire and go, we're not letting Hamas run Gaza Strip. A coalition of Arab countries will send in forces to run Gaza Strip until they finally go through a long track record and gain independence, and then you'll have an independent Palestine. Okay, that way, by the way, you would solve the area for good. You would have finally a peace solution like Israel and Egypt did. In this case, it would be Israel and the Palestinians. The Egyptian deal worked perfectly. This deal would work. The only people who say it wouldn't work are people who think Palestinians are subhuman. And no, they're such savage animals that they'll always resort to violence. They're not like any other human beings. No, every human being does a peace deal and at some point gets beyond the violence, right? Would that apply to Palestinians? Of course it would. If you say it wouldn't apply to Palestinians, you're deeply racist. Okay, so let's just move on from that. So at that point, then you have an independent Palestinian state and an independent Israeli state. And you know what happens? One, Israel gets a safe haven for Jews. And the whole world, and especially America, polices that. And the Arab coalition polices that. The Palestinians get their independence and Donald Trump gets a Nobel Peace Prize. Now, I know what people on the left are gonna say, oh, there's no way. I know, brothers and sisters, it's less likely.
Way less likely.
But because of the bribes coming in from the Gulf, it's now at least a possibility. Since it's a possibility, it should be incumbent upon all of us who love peace and don't want a genocide to work together to push towards that possibility instead of the possibility that is much larger, which is Israel finishes the genocide and they execute their final solution for the Palestinians in Gaza. So the people who are in favor of the Israeli solution is almost all of Washington. Almost all the Democrats and almost all the Republican politicians. Less Democrats, the Republicans are almost completely corrupt. The Democrats are only like 80% corrupt, okay? And the opposition led by people like Bernie Sanders and wonderful people saying, enough, no more money, not a nickel to Israel, okay? But the people who want to do the right thing, we have to unite. If we don't unite, we won't have anywhere near enough power. The other side is super powerful. But at this point, an overwhelming percentage of the American people are sick of this. That every day we work hard we come home and go, sorry, hun, but we can't afford a new TV. We can't afford this, we can't afford that. Why? We had to send money to Israel to murder more Palestinian children so they could steal Gaza and finish their final conquest, okay? Yep. So sorry, I can't pay the rent. We're gonna be homeless. Maybe we can go on Medicaid. No, we can't go on Medicaid. We can't do anything because our money went to Israel to slaughter these people. So anyone who agrees with us, again, I don't care. If you care where somebody is on the political spectrum, on this issue of genocide, there's something wrong with you, right? I don't care where you are on the spectrum. If you're in favor of stopping this genocide, unite and put pressure on Trump to actually take the Arab deal rather than the Israeli deal. It's not easy, it's super hard. It's at least easy to understand if you care about the Palestinians. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.